On paper, the Viltrox 23mm f1.4 seems like a perfect prime lens to get for your Sony A6000 series crop sensor camera. It is compact, has autofocus, seems to be well built, with very wide aperture of 1.4 and affordable. But is this lens actually any good? Can it take sharp images? And is the autofocus working well? I'll be showing you tons of pictures and video samples, tell you where and how you can use it, so you can decide for yourself if it's worth getting or not. So grab a cup of coffee and let's get into it. When I first got the lens, I'll be honest, I was quite skeptical. This is not a Sony G Master, Zeiss or Sigma lens. I did not have high expectations, but boy was I wrong. First of all, this is an APS-C 23mm lens and the full frame equivalent would be about 35mm. It is an autofocus lens which you don't always get with these third-party manufacturers. The first thing that surprised me was the build quality. I couldn't believe it, but it is fully metallic, even the lens hood. It feels solid and very well built, but to my surprise, it is not heavy. Weighing only 266 grams and being also small in size, precisely 72mm long, this is one of the most compact prime lenses in my arsenal. Remember that the maximum aperture is f1.4, which is very good, and usually f1.4 lenses are big and bulky, but Viltrox somehow have managed to get the f1.4 without sacrificing the size and weight. The minimal focal length is alright, it's 0.3 meters. And this is how the pictures look like when focusing at the closest distance. It is not a macro lens, so don't expect to take a lot of close-ups. But the thing I love the most about this lens is the aperture ring. It is a stepless ring and you can adjust the aperture from f1.4 to f16. If you don't want to use the ring, just set it to auto and control it in the camera. I found the aperture ring to be very useful, especially when using with the Sony A6000, as I can quickly adjust it. This lens is not weatherproof. It doesn't have the rubber gasket, so don't shoot with it in the rain. The only useful thing you'll find when removing the lens cap is the USB port for the future firmware updates. In the front, the lens features a nice metallic lens hood and a 52mm filter thread. Before we get into the price and picture quality, let's take a look at the autofocus. For pictures, the autofocus works quite well. It is not as snappy as with native Sony lenses, but Viltrox does a pretty good job. I've managed to focus quickly not only to static objects, but I've easily caught birds mid-flight and people on the street. For videos, the focus is worse than it is with the photos. The lens focus is really fast, however when focusing from close to far, the lens sort of goes back and forth twice before locking the focus, which kinda sucks. With native Sony lenses, the focus locks on immediately. When moving the camera closer or further from object, you also can't go too fast as it will lose the track. So overall, autofocus for video could be better. Regarding the autofocus noise, Viltrox claims to have an STM silent autofocus. Even though it really is silent, you can still hear it and feel it. If you record the sound directly in your camera with a sensitive mic, it will sound like this. Overall, autofocus is not absolutely amazing. For pictures, it does a great job, but for videos, it could have been better. Okay, this is where this lens really surprised me. I took a couple of test shots and did not expect too much, but in this video, I'm not gonna bring up boring focus charts and do corner pixel peeping, but I will just show you a bunch of images and tell you straight up. This lens seems and is sharp. When shooting at f1.4, oftentimes I found myself missing the focus, or even when I got the focus, the depth of field was so shallow that the image felt out of focus. So very often I stepped down to f1.7 or even f2 and found that to generate the sharpest shots. Although I also got a lot of sharp shots at f1.4 and really enjoyed using it because when shooting wide open, the lens generates a delicious bokeh. I mean, look how nicely the object stands out in seemingly busy picture and how well the background is blurred. Even when the object is so close to the background, it still gets blurred out fantastically. This lens also performed well when everything had to be in focus. It provides plenty of detail and focus really nicely. And here is a quick test to show how the same picture looks with different aperture values. Notice how the background gets more and more blurred. Unfortunately, at f1.4 there is some vignetting, and at first I was not happy about it, but you can easily fix it by applying the correction in Lightroom. Just make sure to download the lens profile. Although note here that this fix will not work on the videos. The quality for videos is good as well. It is easy to isolate the subject from the background and draw the viewer's eye to the subject. Remember that this lens does not have OSS, so either use a tripod, a gimbal, or shoot in slower frame rate to get sharper shots, as lots of movement will make things more blurry. Overall, the quality of images totally exceeded my expectations, and they come out way sharper than I could imagine. Okay, and last but not least, through countless pictures, I want to show you how I use this lens and in which situations you can use it too. My favorite application is to use it for subjects when they're really nicely isolated when shooting wide open. It just really draws the viewer's attention to the subject, and it is easy to tell the story this way. I think I use this Viltrox lens with pictures like these the most. This lens can easily be used also for landscapes, as it has quite a wide field of view, lots of things fit in the frame, and with everything being sharp, it is easy to create good photos. 35mm on full frame is considered as a great portrait lens, full body portrait. I tried it out and it works quite good, although portraits is not something I consider myself being good at. This focal length probably is one of the most popular among all photographers, so you can't go wrong with it. Also, you can use it for city and architecture. Since the angle is wide enough, you can easily fit in buildings and more narrow streets without any problems. And finally, this lens is perfect for everyday life events to take pictures just around you. I found myself taking lots of pictures that are in reach of the hand and really like the results. So then, considering that this lens is fully metal built, has the aperture control ring, is compact and light with great focal length, has wide aperture of 1.4 and wide applicability, but generates vignette, can be updated only with a cable, sometimes gets a bit soft at f1.4, and autofocus for video is not top of the game. Is it good enough to buy it? Well, with all the good and bad what it has, the price really removes all the questions. It costs only $279. I'm saying only because it is very hard to find a cheaper and better lens that is with f1.4 and so small and well built as well as sharp. So for that price, I don't think you can go wrong with this lens. Let me know your thoughts about this Viltrox 23mm f1.4 lens, and if you want me to review any other lens for you. Thanks for joining, and let's see each other in the next video. Ata!